A small percentage of the static you see on dead TV stations is leftover radiation from the Big Bang. You're seeing residual effects of the universe's creation. Alvin and the Chipmunks was an American animated music group created by Ross Bagdasarian Sr. for a novelty record in 1958. The written language was invented independently by the Egyptians, Harappan, Sumerian, Chinese, and Mayans. We always inhale more air from one nostril than we do from the other one when we breathe, and this changes every 4 hours. Bodies are super weird. We are currently living in the Holocene epoch of the Quaternary period. Rock layers deposited during an epoch are called a series, and that's a rock fact. It can take a photon 40,000 years to travel from the core of the sun to the surface, but only 8 minutes to travel the rest of the way to Earth. Space is super cool. Closing your eyes when you sneeze is simply a reflex. If you keep your eyes open during a sneeze, your eyeballs obviously won't pop out. The Mythbusters proved it, if you don't believe me. Dead people can get goosebumps. It would take 1,200,000 mosquitoes, each sucking once, to completely drain the average human of all of its blood. I never want to see 1,200,000 mosquitoes in the same place at the same time. Ever. Glass is made from the liquid form of sand. You can make glass by heating ordinary sand until it melts at 3,090 degrees Fahrenheit and turns into a liquid. When it cools, it transforms into what we now know as glass. A mantis shrimp can swing its claws so fast that it boils the water around it and creates a tiny flash of light. You would not want to fight these. Deer have no gallbladders. Water bears are tiny invertebrates and can survive virtually anything, even the vacuum of space. They're also pretty much the best. In Alaska, it is illegal to whisper in someone's ear while they're moose hunting, because it's rude. A pair of brown rats can produce as many as 2,000 descendants in a year if left to breed unchecked. That's a lot of babies. A lion in the wild usually makes no more than 20 kills a year. Big ol' kitties. The kakapo bird is critically endangered because it has a strong, pleasant, musty odor which allows predators to easily locate it. The poor thing. A shrimp's heart is located in its head. An ostrich can run faster than a horse, and somehow we did not make them major mounts of history. For shame. Snakes are carnivores, which means they only eat animals, often small ones such as insects, birds, frogs, and other small mammals. In 2008, a 15-minute film of Marilyn Monroe engaging in oral sex with an unidentified man was bought for $1.5 million by a New York businessman and will be kept safe from public view. Tom Cruise was Christian Bale's inspiration for Patrick Bateman when he was filming American Psycho. Bale was inspired with this very intense friendliness with nothing behind the eyes. Emma Stone's low husky voice is the result of the actress having baby colic when she was just an infant. Nicolas Cage was once stalked by a mime. Even his stalkers are weird. Anne Hathaway thought she was auditioning for the role of Harley Quinn when she was trying out for The Dark Knight Rises. Russell Brand is legally entitled to take $20 million of Katy Perry's fortune in their divorce settlement, but he refuses to claim it. Good guy. Jennifer Aniston turned down a part on Saturday Night Live to accept the role of Rachel in Friends. Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin sent a letter to Jack Lee. George R.R. Martin saying, "Congratulations on your marvelous performance. Everyone hates you." Kristen Stewart is an excellent juggler. Liam Neeson used to be a teacher, but got fired after punching a 15-year-old student when they pulled out a knife. People who complain on social media are more likely to suffer from some form of depression as well as anxiety and stress. Sushi was originally invented in Southeast Asia before it made its way to China and then to Japan. What a delicious history. Rabbits eat their own feces about once a day. tasty. Steven Universe is the first animated series on Cartoon Network to be solely created by a woman. Her name, Rebecca Sugar, and we adore her. The average fox weighs anywhere between 10 to 14 pounds. Broadway actress Lea Salonga was the singing voice of 2 Disney princesses, Jasmine in Aladdin and Mulan. Texas gets hit by more than twice as many tornadoes each year than any other state. A mole can dig a tunnel that's 300 feet long in just one night. Wow. Washington Irving, who wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, suffered from insomnia and nervous horror. While it's a myth that waking a sleepwalker could cause them to suffer from shock, brain damage, or a heart attack, it isn't a myth that it could be dangerous due to the injuries that could occur to the sleepwalker and the waker. A giraffe can lick its own ear. Polar bears have 42 teeth, which they use for catching food and aggressive behavior. Smile. Famous playwright Tennessee Williams actually choked to death on a plastic bottle cap. What a way to go. According to a legend, ancient Rome was founded by 2 brothers and demigods, Romulus and Remus. After an argument, Romulus killed Remus and named the city after himself. What a jerk. Tupac Shakur has had 7 platinum albums that were released posthumously. As recently as 2007, Shakur's estate banked $9 million. The freezing point of water is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and its boiling point is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The hippo's closest living relatives are cetaceans, meaning whales, dolphins, and porpoises. Uncle Tom's Cabin author Harriet Beecher Stowe and Mark Twain were neighbors. According to the Food Safety and Inspection Service of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, eggs will maintain freshness for 3 to 5 weeks beyond the carton's stamped expiration date, as long as you keep them refrigerated at a temperature of about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. An ostrich's eye is bigger than its brain. Talk about a bird brain. Tom Kenny, who voices the iconic SpongeBob SquarePants, was also the voice of Heifer in Rocko's Modern Life. You might think you can skip the sunscreen on a cloudy day, but that's not the case because the sun's damaging UV rays can pass straight through clouds, so lather up, babies. Male lions sleep an average of 20 hours a day. Japanese politician Mitsuo Matayoshi claims to be Jesus. He even calls himself the only God, Matayoshi Mitsuo, Jesus Christ. Okay. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was Disney's first full-length animated feature film. Scientists didn't believe reports that the duck-billed platypus was a real animal until they actually saw one. According to Forbes, about 4% of the websites online are pornographic. A fortnight is a unit of time equal to 14 days or 2 weeks. The word derives from an Old English word meaning 14 nights. Huh. A group of rattlesnakes is called a rumba. When Jerry Lee Lewis was 22 years old, he married his 13-year-old cousin, Myra Gale Brown. The marriage nearly ruined his career. In ancient Rome, having a large penis wasn't a sign of manliness, but instead meant that the guy was a barbarian or a fool. Butterflies will drink blood when given the chance. Bob Marley's father was a white man from England. While many think leeches have 32 brains, they actually have one brain that's made up of 32 ganglia. 30 years ago, you had 17 minutes to escape a house fire. Today, you only have 3 to 4 minutes. Axolotls can regenerate amputated limbs. John Malkovich starred in a movie called 100 Years, the movie you will never see, and it won't be released until 2115. I Never Said She Stole My Money has 7 different meanings depending on which word you emphasize. Jennifer Garner played saxophone in high school and was a band geek. There's an illusion of an underwater waterfall at the Mauritius Island near Madagascar. Reindeer eat lichen to keep from freezing to death. Kanye West once rapped his entire album Swish to Seth Rogen in the back of a limo. Kelly Elementary School in Massachusetts canceled homework for the 2016-2017 school year and extended the school day by 2 hours in the hopes that it will improve student performance. Turkeys can reproduce without having sex. Neil Armstrong threatened to sue his barber after he sold the astronaut's hair trimmings for $3,000. There is a place in San Diego, California called Potato Chip Rock. Tasty. Edmund Thomas Clint was an Indian child prodigy who created over 30,000 paintings before dying at the age of 7. The Pierre de Coubertin Medal is the rarest medal in the Olympics, and it is given less than once per Olympics for good sportsmanship. James Cromwell became a vegan after working with the animals in the movie Babe. When Queen Elizabeth visited the set of Game of Thrones, she couldn't sit on the Iron Throne because there's actually a law that prohibits her from sitting on foreign thrones. Emus can't walk backwards, so I guess no moonwalking. Sloths can't shiver when it's cold. Swifts can stay in the air for 200 days without touching the ground, and they can even sleep while flying. The Gin Tub, a pub in Brighton, has a Faraday cage built in the ceiling to prevent patrons from using their cell phones. George Clooney tried out for the Cincinnati Reds in 1977. The United States is the only English-speaking country that pronounces Z as opposed to Z, like the British. Now you can tell I'm American. Platypus swim with their eyes closed. Aw, they need goggles. Alexander the Great named over 70 cities after himself. Camels have 3 eyelids to protect their eyes from sand. The Widower is the hottest curry on earth, and it is made in Britain. Chefs have to wear goggles to make it, and those who eat it experience hallucinations. Delicious. Phew, and we did it. You and me, together. Anyway, now that's over. Why don't you check out these other videos, comment and like on this one, and perhaps subscribe to The Richest for more wacky content all the time. Thanks.